as I tell you guys the airport story from hell that we experienced on the way back home from Marseille. Okay, I'm literally gonna get up my notes up as I talk you through this day. So our flight was set for 7:30. So we get to the airport probably about like 4 or 5. And you kind of start to notice like, oh, like this is a little bit overcrowded. Capacity is kind of like at its full, but you know, our flight's in like an hour, so who cares? Gets to 7:30 and we go to our gate. We're standing there for a while and we're like, oh, something's obviously wrong. They're like, oh, sorry guys, like your flight's gonna be delayed maybe like an hour or 2. And we're like, okay. Me, Freya and Megan didn't have anywhere to go the next day, so we're actually not that bothered. Hour or 2, maybe we miss our train. Like that's like the extent of like how bad it'll go. So we're sitting in the lounge again. I end up talking to the pilot. No, this man who is a pilot for Ryanair. We're flying with Ryanair. And we're like, is that our pilot? And he starts chatting to us. Freya and Megan go get food. And I'm sat alone with this man who, he's like, I'm flying at 6 a.m. Oh, because obviously a pilot has to have however many hours before he flies. And he's like, don't tell anyone. And we're like, okay. So he's like stressing out in the seat. He's like, I need to get home. I need to get to London. He starts telling me about his niece. He's showing me pictures of his niece. He's asking me about the theatre. We're hitting it off basically, but you know, that's a story that for another time. Anyway, cut 2. It comes up, as I'm speaking to this man, it comes up, flight boarding, and it's like 9 p.m. And we're like, oh shit, like, our flight's here. So everyone in the airport kind of like runs to the flight. I mean, everyone's running to the gate. We've already been through passport control once. We can kind of like skip it and go through again. We just have to be like, hey, I've already been here. We all run through. So there's this hallway that is the gate, essentially. It's got a kind of waiting room to the side of it, but we were all in this hallway. No one was in the waiting room. The whole flight in this little hallway. Kind of all like in the dark. Like no one knows what's going on and why we're not moving anymore because we've just been told, you know, flight boarding now. They lock the gate and they lock everyone inside this little hallway, the entire flight. And secretly, they change the flight time on the app. Not telling us anything. Boarding at 1:30 a.m. It's 9 p.m. We are in a hallway for the next 4.5 hours. So all of us are like, half 1 a.m. Like, can we go back out into the lounge? And this like mob mentality of anyone who's vocal on this flight team together and start fighting with the staff. And they're like, we have children here. We've got no food. Like, can we just leave and go to the lounge? And the flight staff are like, no. So then we're all kind of looking at each other like, they literally trapped us in this hallway. It was like an escape room. Oh, the flight's here, guys, the flight's here. Lock the doors. Yep, 4.5 hours. People are screaming, human rights. And I'm like, this cannot be fucking real. I just kind of thought, oh, I'll eat on the flight. Now the flight's at 1:30. And then the staff start threatening, if you leave this area, you're not allowed on the flight. Passport control are not going to let you through and you have to stay in France. We have babies here, we have no food, there's no water, where are we meant to go to the toilet? And the staff are like, that's not my problem, that's not my problem. Then, cut to it. There is this one boy who is maybe about my age, like he's 24 probably, and he's Australian, and he's with his sister and another guy, whether it was his brother or his friend or I don't know, another guy. There's 3 of them. And I think because everyone had been so angry previously, he like had this hero complex that was going on. Just based on like completely observing him. He didn't seem like a trouble causer. He just kind of felt like, I think, if I'm real honest, I think he kind of forgot he was in an airport and he was just so tired and so like, everyone was so angry. And he was like, wow, I have backup here. He just had this hero complex that he was like, I'm gonna get us out. I'm gonna get us out. And we were like, you go for it, man. Like, you do you. The approach he took was interesting. I say he was a sound guy. He very quickly flipped to being very difficult to like everyone. Basically, the argument had kind of died down. Everyone had kind of been like, oh, this sucks. But they'd also accepted it. Like, we had a vending machine, which is not enough for a whole flight suite, but like that was the argument that was put to us. We're at capacity, there's nothing we can do. So the argument had died down. However, his argument had not. He was not done. Just like, he was just still arguing. He was like the only one left. And we were just kind of sat on the floor, just kind of watching this happen. Je suis no français. We're like, what the fuck? Like, let's speak English because I don't speak French. And we're like, oh God, like you're like quickly losing any validity in this argument. Also, side note, there is another flight that is going on that has to get through our gate. And he decides, well, that's not happening. And he thinks now is the perfect time to start a protest of sitting down and not moving. He's like, if we're not gonna leave, I'm not gonna move, is his mentality. And which was not the move he thought it was, because no one was on his side. Everyone was a bit like, I do think he forgot he was dealing with airport police. I think he kind of thought like, what are they gonna do? I've got a flight coming up. What's the worst they can do? What's the worst that airport police can do? Let's think about that. He sits down in front of the entrance, and the timing of this is so unfortunate for him, because you could write this in like, this is a sketch. The second he sat down to be like, well, I'm not moving, the second he sat down, the person who was coming through was this sweet little old woman in a wheelchair who was like, what's going on? And you just saw his face as he'd like already made up his mind he's not gonna move, but then it was like this cute little old woman like, can I get through? And he's like, he just did not want to lose this argument, and he's looking at everyone and he's like, shit, like what do I do? Guys, come on. Like, that's his energy. Yeah, no, you're on your own here, bud. You're on your own. And he actually makes eye contact with me, and I go, bro, come on, like, she hasn't done anything. And he looks at me and he's like, goes to move, which props to me, by the way, goes to move out of her way, and the airport staff like wheel her around a different way. So he's like, great, sit down, as if he was never gonna move. And I'm like, I saw that. So he like sits down and he's like, yeah, that worked. Yeah, that worked, they better go around me. So this took a turn, obviously. Oh, side note, when the old woman in the wheelchair comes through, she goes, quote of the century, she goes, where are we going, John? Like, oh no. Like, just the wrong woman to target. Just that way. Just head that way. So, the man at the passport control office comes out and goes, move. And he's like, and then once again he's like, speak English. And in like a cartoon, he picked him up by the wrist, flings him across the hall. He slides into this like corner of a wall, like a like a puppet. He slides into this wall like he's just slipped on a banana. Like that was the energy that it gave. And he is splayed out on the floor, and the guy picks up his backpack and launches it at him full pelt. Like it sounded like there was bricks in this bag. That's how harsh it hit him. And he's like on the floor. It's speed at which he moved looked like he was gonna go through the wall. So all of us are like, is he okay? Is he still here? Is he conscious? So we think this man is injured. The words that come out of his mouth. Did anyone get that on film? I'm happy to do take two if we didn't. Yeah. So all of us are like, oh no. Oh no. He doesn't go for take two. Instead, his approach is actually in this splayed out position that he's in, like legs everywhere, he's gonna stay like that. He's like still in the way. This other security guard comes out who hasn't been there before. And I think this man thought, this guy hasn't seen any of this. Like, I can kind of turn him against the other guy and like get some like rights here. Like, I'm just trying to leave. Like, I'll just plead to him because he hasn't seen any of this. Your colleague just threw me here. And the guy's going like, your colleague just put me here, so I have to be here because he just put me here. And the guy goes, okay, it's my office. And this Australian man goes, what? He went green. He went, no. Like, what? And you know what? I'm just gonna insert the footage of what happened from 0 to 100 next. And yes, that is me and Megan sat on the floor like this.
What are you doing? Sorry, I'll cooperate. Excuse me, what the fuck?
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh my god, what the fuck? Excuse me, I'm not resisting.
Detained and can no longer get on our flight. So, wherever that man is in the world, I hope you're alright. I hope you left France. Anyway, whatever the security's goal was definitely met because everyone was like, I'm leaving. I'm gonna comply. We'll listen to you, man. One woman's like, oh my god, and they're like, you want the same to you? So everyone shook up. Everyone shook up. During this episode of EastEnders that we found ourselves in, there's these two men behind us who are from London. And they're just real English blokes. Like, just them, like, trying to add a bit of comedy. They're going like, oh, where's the popcorn? And we're like, they obviously know what's going on. Everyone knows what's going on. And the staff member comes up to them and goes like, oh, you're gonna have to stay in this hallway. These like late 30-year-old men, I want to say. And he like pretends he doesn't know what's going on. He goes, what? Bomberclad? I'm like, am I in a fever dream? What's going on? Me, Freya and Megan are like pissing ourselves. We're like, this could not get weirder. This cannot get funnier. So the what bomberclad men turn to us and go, I have inside information for what's going on. And we're like, right, yeah, we know what's going on. And this man, one of them is pacing up and down the hallway on the phone. Like he's like one of the staff and he's like, just pacing up and down. And we're like, who is he on the phone to? We have inside information about the flight. But like, cut to a few minutes later where I see he's just on flight scanner. And he's just looking at flight scanner. That's all he's doing. So I have no idea who he was on the phone to. No one could say. We're sat like facing this glass wall that's dividing this hallway, and the two men are sat there, and we're just kind of like minding our own business. And one of them, he stands up and he runs to the glass panel in front of me. He stands on this platform, grabs the glass and like peers over the edge, and he's like, hey. And I go, hi, you're on the Stansted flight, right? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, right, well, it's just left London. And I'm like, who have you been talking to? I literally go, why do you have inside information? I know someone. And I go, do you want to come join us? And he's like, and the joy in this man's face, he runs and gets his backpack. I'm like, I love you. I was like, please come join us. You're iconic. You're so funny. So he runs around the corner. It was his friend. His friend comes too. And they come and sit with us. This was the best decision of my life, by the way. They were called Howard and Adam. Shout out to wherever Howard and Adam are, because you really just changed our night. They just added so much entertainment to this night. So we joined this other three who all didn't know each other beforehand. So we'd kind of made this group of 8, and it was like, they were kind of our age, and then you had Howard and Adam, who were like 30 plus, and we were like, sick. But they're so fucking funny. Like, and I don't know if it was intentional, but we were just like, oh my god. We were asking them like, what do you do for a living? And they were like, we're train drivers. And then like later on they were like, we just do like the sweet trolley. We actually don't drive the train. We're like, oh, okay. He turns to me and he goes, if you marry me, we can get trains for free. And I was like, I literally out loud went, did I just get proposed to at 12 a.m. at Marseille airport? What is going on? I also have a pack of cards on me and I'm like, hey guys, do you want to play cards? We end up playing bullshit as a group of 8 with these like people we don't know. And somewhere along the way, we like collectively decided as a 3 that we're just gonna lie about everything. Freya said she was a... They were like, what do you do for a living? She goes, I'm a dentist. Like, Adam gave one guess and Megan was like, yes! So I actually don't remember what that was. Some sort of like hospital something. And I said I was an... I don't know what the benefit of that was, but we did. So then we'd been delayed over 2 hours. So the regulation is that we get paid back £250 from Ryanair, which was the best part of this all. We basically got a whole holiday for free. And Adam turns to us and goes, London drinks on you. And Freya goes, London drinks? When were we going for London drinks? We'll all be in the hotel tonight. And we're like, what? What's happening? So the last part of this is that I gave Howard my camera because I was like, I need to remember these men. I just need to capture this moment. And here is the video of Howard and Adam. You can just see me like giggling in the background, like.
Oh, hello.
You hold that.
Was it recording?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Right, hello. Excuse the chins. There's probably quite a few there. We're delayed.
Introduce yourself.
Right, I'm Howard. We're in Marseille. I'm here with. Hello.
Oh, I'm Jess.
I'm here with Jess, and yeah, we're waiting about 5 hours so far. I think the plane's coming, but so is Christmas. So you know, see what comes first.
See what comes first.
And that's me out.
Now on to
Bosh. Here he is.
I'm Adam. I've been waiting.
Zoom
God,
right
that's
in
how
on his face.
6 hours I'm waiting.
You sure?
Megan.
It's Megan. Oh, your battery's a bit low.
That's alright, don't worry.
We'll get home before Christmas maybe, but
There's an echo in here.
Chris Reed's coming home first.
Do you want to meet? Hey, I'm Freya. We're with Howard and Adam, and they are...
Our flight came in at maybe like 4 and there was no way home. And the last part of the story is so fucking funny. Because after everything, after these hours we'd spent away, it was literally like a sign of hope. This bus comes past, and to this day I cannot explain why, or like this makes no sense. This bus comes past and obviously at the front it says like King's Cross, London St Pancras. It says home. We all stood there just looking at this bus like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It just said home. That was where I said, no more. No more. Shout out to Howard and Adam. I literally love you. I would meet up in London. Hit me up.